maybe she's here too. Thousands.
Oh, it says violation detective and live now to avoid suspension.
Oh, that's probably, is it a comment? That's,
Yeah.
yeah. Those are yahoos that think it's funny
Oh,
to
okay.
block them. They do that all the time, and
Sorry.
then what they do is no, you're good, because then what they do is they then make videos. They make videos of all the people who are like, oh my gosh, oh no, I got a violation, and they think it's funny. I think it's terrible because especially a lot of people use they use this platform for money, so it's terrible they do that. So I guess here's one. What about all of the times that they've talked about the rug use,
Oh,
been open about that, like those clips, would they be able to submit those because that shows that they
I mean, let me tell you this. 2K's attorney is going to try, but it depends on how good her attorney is at objecting. And it's possible that if they do allow it, it will not be submitted for the truth of the matter, which means that it won't be submitted for a fact that she does, what the video is saying she does. So, does that answer? Evidence rules are really, really complicated and confusing, especially when it comes to stuff like this, because you have so many different people involved and so many different hearsay objections, and it's pretty much a mess. You have to, especially actually have to provide the full unedited audio.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a whole mess. But what'll be interesting though is because they have to introduce all of the videos through her. Because 2K was never the one to actually record them himself, they have to get the videos introduced through her. So she's going to have to testify and say, like, yes, that was me. Yes, that's my voice. Yes, I recorded it.
Interesting.
And so it will be very interesting because this is where judges can really tell when somebody's credible or not, though.
Yeah.
Because if she lies or, it's pretty obvious, your body language changes, your language kind of changes, your answers are not very quick. And this is why it's so important to have hearings in person. Zoom court was really challenging because it's really hard for a judge to assess the credibility of somebody because the way they look when they are answering questions. And yeah, I see people saying his attorney transcribes them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because you guys, one of the things too that I think is really important is that with the videos and whatnot, it's kind of like what I say when you guys send me clips, which I love because that's how I get the majority of my information. But I can never do a video just based on that clip, right? Because there's context before, after, in between. We don't know how it's sliced, which is why I always like to see the entire portion of it before I will report on it. And so for court, they have to show the whole video if they're only going to use just hi guys, only if they're going to use a few minutes. And then I think there's typically a request done I would like to just publish from timestamp here to timestamp here, but they oftentimes will have to listen to all of it. And they're not, again, for a custody case especially. Now, granted, I know that we've been watching these rappers trials and stuff that have gone on for months, and we have sat down and we have listened to a 4-hour video of them talking in a similar situation. They're not going to do this, for a custody case. They're going to use what they have. And again, Brie truly is her own worst enemy. Like, it's the way she presents, and like she Ayla just said, and I tell you guys this all the time. I'm like, you guys, I can't give you an answer based off of what you're telling me because I need to see them. I need to see how they interacted, how did their voice changes, where were their eyes looking, like all of that stuff. It plays a role. So when she gets on the stand and she has to ask the attorney, the judge or the attorneys are asking her questions, and everything's not going Bree's way because that's the world that she lives in. I don't think she even was raised with a lot of consequences. I think that they're going to do just fine, and they're not going to need to provide a whole bunch of information. I think even just him, like you said, being on the camera, the TTS stuff, leaving the child, taking the child across state lines, just blatantly disrespecting court rules and orders, to me, I think is going to be the highlight of where they're at. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that they really need all of those videos or live streams to be. I mean, he's in a position that doesn't really require that. The status quo is what it is. The status quo is he has legal custody and he lives in Texas. So that's why, her attorney says the reverse move away now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's because it's not really a move away. And, he's already moved.
Right. Yes, Chloe. Police body cams can't. Well, let me rephrase. I would assume, I know in my line they can. I'm assuming they can in family court as well. Like, for instance, when they went to go pick the baby up and it took them 2 hours of them battling and whatnot, would John's attorney be able to subpoena that and utilize that footage?
Yes, okay, so, all right. In hearsay, there are exemptions. California has a family law exemption, which is unique. Many states do not have that. But if you're in a family law case and the video is was filmed, not used, but was filmed as a result of trying to show that the best interest of the child is, at risk, then you can, there's an exception to that. But nobody who's filming is believing that, so I don't see that here. With regard to police reports and body cams are full of all kinds of hearsay. And the only way to get those admitted as evidence is to have the actual officers appear in court and testify with their video. Okay. And you mentioned something before about playing the whole video. So they don't necessarily, it depends on the judge. I've had judges want to play 4 hours worth of police body cam footage. And I've had other judges saying, no, just fast forward to the point that you want to show me, but you still have to submit the entire thing. So if live stream and there's like 10 minutes in that clip, you submit the 12 hours, but you play, the couple of minutes, which I assume is going to happen in this case. But yeah, the police or the sheriff, it was police, right? It was LAPD, I think, who came. Yeah. So they would have to show up and testify.
Peace and Love said baby was never harmed in her care. I think harm could be a different way. Physically, not that we saw. No, was the baby harmed potentially? And so, that's going to all be decided out. Was the baby in the best care in her care? No. And I guess even in again, this is just my opinion. Even when she was in Texas and that baby was so sick for several days and she did not seek medical attention, he had a double ear infection. He had a very high fever. No. There was nothing done to comfort the baby. Instead, she stayed on live. She wrapped herself up in his blanket, and he just wanted love and to be comforted. And that baby was very sick. So, who's to say? Now, I'm not saying that he got sick because he was in the care. I'm talking about the care that was provided while the child was sick. And that's all part of being a parent. So, but again, all that, Nurse Amy, I'm not here to say, that he was or wasn't harmed in anyone's care. We're here to come on and just bring the facts because Law Talk and I both are on this. We don't always necessarily see the same on this case, but we both have the same passion of making sure that we get out correct information, not information that's, we read this and this is our opinion, so we're just going to spread this rumor. We want absolutely the right, correct information to come out.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that the attorneys are going to make an argument for neglect in some regard. I think that could be expected.
Yeah.
But you have to think about it in most standard language for most court orders, there is a clause about not disparaging the other parent in front of the child. And now I don't even know what to consider the TTS stuff. Okay. Like, I don't even know what to consider it. But what I do know is that it was on loudspeaker, people just trashing her and the baby's dad. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're willingly putting your child in a situation where they're hearing horrible things, even if you can say, oh, they don't know, he doesn't understand, he's little. It's just the environment. Like, if you're willing to have a child in an environment like that, what's going to change when they're 5? What would be the difference?
And it's just, can you imagine the, what is that called? Like, the lights, the sound, all of the stimulation. That's what I was thinking of for an 11-month-old. Imagine that type of stimulation for them, how miserable they are. Even my grandbabies over Easter, they did great, but about an hour and a half in, this is overstimulating. There's a lot of kids, there's a lot of people. No, I'm ready for my nap. You know, they needed to step away and have some quiet time with grandma and have a nap. That baby sat up. He did not touch the floor but 2 times. Besides that, he was propped on the bed with people sitting around him with all the lights on him and that dang thing just shouting. And again, he may not have understood the words, but one day, the internet's forever. One day, he's going to be able to play that back and hear some of the most disgusting, disturbing things. And I just think, to me, I think that her taking him from Texas to California was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Thank you, Kelly, level 10. But to me, I truly feel like that situation was the worst by far of everything she's done, in my opinion. That was
and then also the other thing that courts really frown upon is forcing the police interaction to hand a child over. That's really traumatic for a child. And I think, you know, Angie, you probably are more familiar than me even about being trauma informed. But even just because he's a baby doesn't mean this is less traumatic than if he was 3, 4, 5. You know, kids. What's that? There's a book, like The Body Keeps the Score. Is that what it is? What is it? It's something about trauma, and your body like holds on to that. So
I can think of
you know the baby doesn't have to necessarily know, like, hey, this is bad. What's my mom doing? And but they can feel it and then internalize that trauma.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny because it's not funny, but I've had my certification in trauma informed care for a long time, but I actually just got a new one in trauma informed care for communicating with people who are incarcerated or long-term incarceration, as well as for infants and children that are in trauma situations, like their parents being incarcerated, right? And so you were correct, regardless of their age. Now, you know, maybe at a couple of months, right? But he's old enough to understand that the height, the anxiety, the yelling, even just the police interaction, 100% could follow him, and hopefully he'll get the proper care. But yes, that absolutely, he could look at police in a different way and be scared of them, or certain sounds now could be triggers for him. Certain smells could be triggers for him. Certain, like, you know how when the TTS thing goes off, it's like, it makes some kind of sound. All of those things can be triggers with them, even at this young age, that carry on lifelong. Stormy, love, who are you talking about that who's no longer credible? Explain. Trauma can present, like, absolutely. Yeah, it may not even happen now, but it will happen, you know, much later in life. I think for him, it very well, just because it was so much and so long, like there just never seemed to be a downtime, and they filmed 24/7. So that's how we know that there really was not downtime. And again, working in community protection for years, it just creeps me out just having young people around just a bunch of adult individuals who, to me, it's just a weird situation.
Yeah, that was very bizarre.
Did you see the video of Itai going into at 4 a.m. going into Stella's room when she had the baby?
No, thankfully I haven't.
Yeah, and it's like he walks in there, and I don't know exactly what was happening. Then somebody walked in. I don't know if it was Santos or somebody else walked in a couple hours later behind and just kind of sat on the bed. I was like, "What's happening? That's just beyond. What's happening? That's just not okay in any way, shape, or form." So.
Yeah, I think I've said this before on another live too. I feel like it's a bit of a wash, the cases, and they really just need to focus on a parenting time plan.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Oh, let's check. Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree with that for sure. So there's just so much, they don't have to bring, 2K side doesn't have to bring everything in the kitchen sink. I would just focus on the main things to not overwhelm the court, not extend it out so long because they have enough to present everything that I feel like what they need. So I think you're right on.
Yeah, somebody asked about, can 2K request drug test and psych eval for potential evidence? He can. It's a little late in the game, though. It kind of depends on what's going to happen here. But I just really don't know that he needs it. And the court doesn't like to order those unless. Well, I was going to say unless it's seriously needed, but I don't know. Maybe it is in this case. I don't know. It's just such a disaster. It sort of just depends, I think, on how the judge starts to lean with all this social media stuff. But he can request it. It takes a long time, and it's really expensive here.
And you guys remember, each judge is different, and so our two opinions, whether they're the same or different, could be completely different based on what the judges feel. Now in this, even though I truly believe that she does need some mental health and psychiatric help, do I think that that's going to play a role in regards to the parenting thing? No. Now personally, I would 100% request drug testing to get a baseline to see where she's at. And then when they start doing the steps, I would do that just to make sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I would do that part. Maybe not the psych, though.
I will say that if she had the parenting time that she had before, even just that week, if she had that, I would say, okay, you should probably do something just so that you can get a real pulse on what's actually happening. Yeah. Because psych evals, they can suss out malingering and all that, faking stuff. And so when she says, oh, it's just for social media, all of the evaluations are designed to address that. So, yes. But I don't think it's necessary at this point.
Yeah, for the psych stuff. No, I agree. I think after everything is said and done, the custody stuff is done, she starts to go through her steps to get some type of visitation. If these things start to continue to happen, maybe, is it necessary now to withhold? Because again, if that's part of what's, at least in my state, right? If it was requested and approved for her to get a psych eval before the whole custody stuff was completed, and they're booked out 6 to 9 months, which is not unlikely, the case is going to stay pending for that time until that is done. So you don't want to do that. Again, the reg test, absolutely, but for the psych, I wouldn't do.
Yeah, I think that they should do a drug test. Sorry. I think that they should do a test for that. I mean, that's where you could use those videos to say like, hey, we're not saying that this is what's going on, but we're concerned. And because of the rest of the erratic behavior, we think it's important for her to be, tested prior to any parenting time occurring. I think that's reasonable. And I think it would be granted. But
I do. I definitely do. And again, when I say this, sometimes I feel like it comes off wrong that I'm saying because she's disrespectful to court, that the court is just going to go against her because that. I'm not saying that, but she says like the day that she went to go pick up baby W, this was the day that she hit, that this was the day funeral was there and he was filming. I'm trying to think of the right words to say, right? She said it then. She's like, Rockstar and hair test me. Like she couldn't even say it right. She was like, I dare him to, I dare them to. And she's said it many times. And then she's even said on film, she was like, they can try all they want to. I know how to pass that. I know how to get around that. And I'm like, I don't know. I just wouldn't, push it. I don't know about everywhere else. I know here when we request those tests in court, they go to the jury box and then they're walked down the hall and testing is done right there and we get a result back right there. In most cases, not all, but in most cases they're done right there. So there's no longer time to get the fake stuff and to do the stuff that you need to do to get it done. It can be done right there.
I wish they did that. They do not do that here or in Oregon.
Yeah, it's amazing. It saves
I think
time.
Oregon actually has a drug court program, and they do that in the drug court program, but they don't do that in normal course. Like if you're in a family case, they don't do that.
So. I just wish everybody did because it truly does save a lot of time. Can she wait? So she can't see baby W for his birthday. No, I think she may get a FaceTime call, but she does not.
It's by mutual agreement. So, and none of us know.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting.
I would love to know.
I will say this kind of frustrates me. Okay, so 2K got a lot of backlash to me, I feel like for no reason about the Easter basket. All he said was, I got to put the Easter basket together. He never said he wasn't going to put an Easter basket together. He never said he wasn't going to give her the Easter basket or give him the Easter basket. He never said he wasn't going to take pictures. And he did all of that. And then how frustrating that he did all of that. He even loved some of the items. He talked about it. He did a whole little film thing. And then he took pictures. And she still complained about the pictures. Like, it blows my mind. Like, why are we complaining about the pictures? Can we just be thankful? She's like, well, I didn't want a picture of him in the basket. I wanted a picture of him with the stuff in the basket. I think, I didn't see the picture, but I think we did that with all of our little ones too. When they were young enough to fit in the basket, especially because she got him the cutest little customized basket with his name on there. I just feel like no matter what John does, it's not going to be enough in her eyes. And I feel that that's completely, I don't know. I just feel it's disrespectful. I feel like he went out of his way to assure that he made her a part of it or, had to be a part of it. They had a FaceTime call and, I don't know.
I think they both have a problem with being disrespectful for each other. And I don't think, but yeah, that was not okay. I do have some level of, I don't know if it's empathy, if that's the right word, but I do feel bad for Bree just because she is really trying to hide her emotions in such an inappropriate way. She's dying inside. I think. Unless maybe that's what that psyche bell can help with. But I think she's dying inside. So nothing's going to make her happy. And I don't think she even knows.
Be careful with that word too. I just forgot about that.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, she's sad inside. We'll say that she's sad inside.
Sorry about that.
You guys, no, you're fine. And it's probably okay to say. I just know that I just have to be very cautious. You guys, that's not it. I feel like that's not a whether you're pro John, pro Bree, or just pro baby W. I think that's just common sense. I think before she got pregnant, before anything, like I said, I talked to people that knew her before she ever even had a baby. She's been like this. I don't think that she's ever had. She didn't come from a home that was like a really loving home like this. She just naturally knew how to love. I feel like she's one of those people that's probably self-medicating some of the feelings and emotions that she has. And I think when she has those times of clarity of like, dang, I really, I miss my child, but she doesn't know how to properly react. Where most people, right, when we're so sad and miserable inside because we miss our child. So what would we do, right? Because we're all together here, right? Our wiring's together. We would take every step possible to make sure we did everything that we could in order for to be able to see our child. Where her response is, F it, no one's going to tell me what to do. That's her biggest thing. She doesn't want no one to tell her what to do. She wants to do what she wants to do when she wants to do it. Does not care about the responses or the consequences until she cares about the consequences, but it's too late because of all of the actions. That was very wordy to say. She just wants to do what she wants to do.
Well,
she's stubborn and wants to live her life.
Yeah, and this is just me. My personal opinion is, I feel like when she had the baby, she thought she was going. She had a vision, and I think you can kind of get a glimpse of what that vision looked like. Yep. And her earlier videos, because I know people were talking about her earlier videos, and I agree. I think you can kind of get a glimpse. Like, she had this idea that she was like going to have a baby by the beach and live in LA and go to these cool, trendy cafes and like have a cute little accessory. Unfortunately, I think that's what the vision was, right? Yeah. And then was like, oh, and then she was going to have this like single mom, trashy dad, type of story and content. And then once that did not happen, I don't think she even knew what to do. And I think that's when, I don't know, that's just my personal opinion, but I feel like that's kind of when she just sort of gave up and was like, all right, I'm done. And I honestly, I have empathy for 2K too, because I don't think he expected this mess either. The way that I think she spiraled, what I can see just from online, I know 2K has said like he's known some of this stuff, and I think he's right. Probably there's some, red flags that you can see in people, and when you start to notice little lies about somebody, or you start to, but I don't think anybody could have thought it was going to get like this.
Right.
But maybe he did. I don't know. But I think he's bummed out too, And I think like just hearing this and seeing this all the time, parents, I think, should be happy for their time that their child spends with their other parent because they want a break. And that's not bad to feel that way. Or I think people kind of think, oh, that's bad to feel that way. But I think 2K wants a normal break, not necessarily with like his mom taking, the baby, but to have the baby be with another responsible parent. And I think that Bree would probably want that too, but they just don't have that. And there's no way the way she's living right now, there's no way that that's going to happen anytime soon. So,
right. And 2K has always said from the very beginning, he has always said he wants her in his life. Baby W has one mom, and that's Bree, and that's who it's always going to be. That is why he said that he would pay for everything for her visitation going out there. He would pay for that because he said that he was terrified if he didn't pay for it and visitation was in Texas, she wouldn't come and Baby W wouldn't have his mom. So he went above and beyond, in my opinion, to pay for travel, to pay for airfare, to get him out there so that she could continue to be a part of Baby W's life.